Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Susan Quinn. I'm with ToutSuite Social Club, and I'm here with Will Durst. Hello, Will.
Hey, Susan Quinn, how you doing?
I'm great. So tonight we are here filming and live streaming Will Durst's performance post-election after the amazing Tuesday performance. How do you feel?
I'm nervous, but I'm ready. I have all the material in the world. It was a great year. It was, but unfortunately, the next couple of months, so this is a frozen moment in time that shall never happen again.
This will never happen again. And my first question for you is, what if Nixon were on the election ballot and won on Tuesday? How do you feel about that?
If Nixon were on?
Yes.
I don't think Nixon could have won the Republican primary. I don't think he's conservative enough. But there must have been good Nixon jokes. There were plenty of comics who had entire careers based around Nixon. Let's see, David Fry, Rich Little, David Steinberg, Carlin did a bunch of stuff. There were a mess of comics. And then there was Watergate, and there was, what's his name? Dick Shawn did a whole thing on Watergate. So, yeah, it was a great time. That was a great time for comedy. George Bush was a great time for comedy. Ronald Reagan was a great time for comedy. Bill Clinton was, as you see, doesn't matter who's president. It's always a great time for comedy.
What was the seminal moment in your life in which you knew that you were a comedian?
Seminal moment. I had tried doing stand-up comedy a bunch of times. Go ahead. Yeah. I tried doing, we're in a club. Tried doing stand-up comedy a bunch of times, and I finally went on stage with an act. I wrote an act. Yeah, I know, crazy concept. And it worked. I actually got laughs. And that was November 4th, 1974. First time I went on with an act. And ever since then.
I was only 20 then.
Oh, I don't think so. I was only I was right out of high school. I was a couple years into college. And ever since then, stopped going to college and moved out here in 1979. Moved out to San Francisco, the Bay Area.
You are a San Francisco boy.
I'm an honorary native. They give you that after 30 years.
Yeah, I think so. And one more question before you go on, if you don't mind. And then we'll have a little show here tonight. How do you feel about a Palin-Ryan ticket in 2016?
Yes, from your lips to God's ear. Actually, you know what I'm thinking? It might be, Gracie's laughing, so she's here. Oh, so it's good stuff.
I didn't tell you the question.
Your mom's a good interviewer. You know what I'm thinking it might be? Bush Clinton. Jeb Bush, Hillary Clinton. I know.
You're so funny.
No, it's entirely possible. It's as Yes, I know.
We're going to hear more about this in just a minute. Are you ready to go on?
I gotta
go.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Thank you, Will.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a regular on CNN and there goes my TV debut, huh? And MSNBC and columnist for the Huffington Post. Please welcome Will Durst.
How about a hand for Chad from the band Mixed Signals? And that's Boo over there, my security guard, sitting on the oriental carpet. Yes, hopefully we'll tell him a couple of jokes. And a hand for ToutSuite. We're streaming live on the interweb. So those of you who are too drunk to enjoy the show, you can go back. I go to ToutSuite, T-O-U-T, as opposed to the toot-toot. So full suite, as in ToutSuite. And you can watch the show later on, so you can see if we actually had any fun. And how about a hand for Keith Stansberry and Sandy for bringing me back, even though there was no popular demand. and yourselves for finding parking in downtown Napa on a Saturday night. You are the true magicians for showing up. My name is Will Durst, and it's great to be here in Napa. I love this place. It's not the real world, but... No, it's not. It's not. It's a fantasy land. It is. It's so darling and precious and lovely and in danger of exceeding the legal limit of delightful. Napa, where the threat level is a hearty burgundy with overtures of baked cherry currants. And a volcanic minerality not reminiscent of charcoal-filtered pomegranates. I don't live in the real world either. I live in San Francisco. I live in the county of San Francisco. I don't live in the city of San Francisco. I live in the Sunset District, where you can never see the damn sunset. Because of the fog, might as well be called the Unicorn District. San Francisco, there's no beach in North Beach. It's on the east side of the city. The love generation sprang up out of the hate. Nancy Pelosi is considered moderate. San Francisco, where Halloween is redundant. Because I'm a political comic, and I'm convinced that politics is geographic. When I go back home to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which I'll do in about 8 days for Thanksgiving, I'll wander back to Milwaukee, see family and friends, and I look forward to the family reunion until about 5 seconds after I hit the front porch. And then it all comes back, why I left home. But when I go back to Wisconsin, I'm a commie pinko yellow rat bastard. But in San Francisco, I'm a Nazi. They're crazy there. They are. The whole town is quite mad. You know about the naked people, right? We have a naked people problem in San Francisco. You would not think that a town that has the coldest winter in summer, according to Mark Twain, would have a problem with naked people, but we do. And the deal is there's no municipal code against public nudity in San Francisco, which you find out, you go to the Folsom Street Fair, you go to, the Beta Breakers, the race, you see that, naked people. Well, these guys decided that, I don't need a special occasion to be naked, I'm just gonna hang out naked. And you see it all the time. I was down by KGO, the old KGO, when it was down by the Embarcadero. It was a Sunday morning, and it's like 11 in the morning, and I'm getting out of my car, bright, sunny, nice day, and there's a naked guy on roller skates. I'm getting out, and and he's right there, and he's on roller skates, and he's coming past me, and he wants me to do something, dude, way too early, and he's got this, and oh man, I don't know. And he shoots past me, and he's on roller skates, so there's centrifugal motion and slapping noises, and the deal is, there's a little parklet. You can't go through 18th, you're going down Market, you can't turn right and do that little veer down 18th because they closed it off. So at the corner of Castro and Market, created like this little triangular parklet, they call it. And the naked guys started hanging out there. It's like a covey of naked, I don't know what you call it. I don't know what you call a dangle of naked guys. It's definitely not a pride. Perhaps a lamentation like of larks. And they hang out, and it's like a naked guy support group or something, and they get hungry and stuff. So they wander over to the 7-Eleven or the restaurant, and of course the merchants are going, dude, come on, naked people, restaurant, eating. And so the city pondered and considered, and I'm not making this up, the supervisor for that district is Scott Wiener. It's true. And he came up with a law so that if you're naked and you go into a restaurant, you got to bring your own towel to sit on. It's the Arthur Dent solution. I shit you not. It's called the skid marks law. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You can't make stuff up like this. Naked people in a restaurant, a towel, no. Where do you keep your money? I don't want to know. No, this one's on us. The town is quite mad. And Napa is crazy too. You know, Napa is a good town. It's like an encapsulated little bubble here. It's like a yuppie terrarium is what it is. Where the CVS has a sommelier, yes. And all the bad hippies have been sent with their negative vibes to toil in the granola mines and hollowed out portions of Mount Tam and on the Silverado Trail. Well, it's post-election now. Yeah, you're all happy. My career is over. It was so tense. It was so tense that whole day. I expected the day to go on, and then, because I was performing that night, and about 20 minutes into my act, it's over, we won, and the crowd the crowd goes crazy, and then I had to go back into my act. And then I got to go back and watch it on TV, where Karl Rove is still scribbling, Karl Rove through the ages. Karl Rove at the Alamo. Well, I think we got the numbers right here. Karl Rove at Little Bighorn. Well, I'm not sure, but I think. Karl Rove on the Titanic. No, there's no way. It started so long ago, the whole election thing. I mean, because I'm a political comic, the hard part is obviously not coming up with the new stuff. The hard part is getting rid of the old stuff. Because, you tweak and tune a bit, and you finally get halfway decent in it, and you got to kick it out of the nest. For instance, my William Howard Taft material just doesn't have the same bite. Reagan was wonderful. Reagan was great for political comedy. Remember he was shot and he didn't know he was shot? I don't know about you, I'd like a president with a central nervous system. Come on, man, a single cell animal knows he's been injured. Paramecium go, Dan Quayle, his biggest fear was that George Herbert Walker Bush would die in office and the next guy wouldn't keep him on as VP. And that's why I need you guys. I do that joke at a comedy club and they stare at me like I'm trying to teach a dog chess. The problem with comedy clubs is the average age of the comedy club is 18 to 35, which was great when I was 18 to 35. Yeah, but now that I'm approaching 40, biggest laugh of the night. And our crowd was political, my age, because I was forged in the crucible of the Vietnam War. Some of you may remember those times. Back then, everything was political. Everything. Your blue jeans were political. Your haircut was political. The dinner table, definitely political. School, high school, not just social studies class, but math class. And math class was political. The Viet Cong had 47 prisoners, 7 die of typhoid, and 13 escape. How many are left to be used as propaganda tools by Jane Fonda? Very conservative suburb. Everything was political back then, and so doing the comedy clubs, and that's why you are my target audience. You are my demographic right here. Yes, you're people who read or know someone who does, which is because it's not that restrictive. the worst part of a comedy club is the second show Friday night, because they got up at 6 or 7 in the morning, and you don't get on until 12, which is the average age of the crowd at the second show. And invariably there's a bachelorette party sitting dead stage right, and there's 8 22-year-old girls, one wearing a lace penis on her forehead. And I'm trying to do jokes about raising the debt ceiling. And it's not fair to her. Bill Clinton was great. I never had sexual relations with that woman. He was pointing at Helen Thomas. He meant that woman right there, or Hillary Clinton, but he meant that. Damn it, I need a seating chart up here. And did you see him at the Democratic National Convention? Yes. What a soldier, laying out the logical reasons for re-electing Bill Clinton as president. And when you think about it, it wasn't really fair, because the Republicans at their convention, they didn't have a former president that they could have. Oh, wait, yeah, they did. Yeah, those 8 years, man. Oh, I know. They sucked for the country and the hemisphere and the planet and the solar system and the universe. But for me, pure gold. For 8 wonderful years, George W. Bush was like a father to me. I was but a single cog in his No Comic Left Behind program. He was like a Reagan and Quayle had a kid. A Wheel of Fortune president in a Jeopardy world. And I always carry these 3x5 cards because you never know when inspiration is going to strike. So I always take down notes. And at the end of Bush's second administration, I had 2 cards full on both sides, packed with verbatim quotes from George Bush. I didn't embellish it all, just pure quotes. One was, I think we could all agree the past is over. But my favorite was, the problem with the French is they don't have a word for entrepreneur. You can't make stuff up like this. And then there was Obama. And then there was the fierce outcry against Obama. You had all the people, the antipathy, and then the Republican primary field, which was, I know. It was great. It brought me back. Because as a political comic, it's up and down and left and right and in and out. Sometimes there's nothing going on and I'm screwed. Not now, but sometimes. And then 18 months ago, they started running. And it was like a soap opera. The Republican, they all led the polls at one time or another. They don't like Mitt Romney. They don't like him. They still don't like him. Yeah, he lost. They really don't like him. Everybody led the polls at one time or another over Mitt Romney. It was like Republican whack-a-mole. Palin, Trump, Bachmann, Perry, Christie, Kane, Gingrich, Santorum. Shit, Mitt. Scraping the bottom of the barrel. No, they were squeezing the goo from between the slats that leaked out of the bottom of the barrel. And it wasn't just me. Pat Robertson said that the field of Republican candidates was too extreme. Pat Robertson said that. Which is like having your drug intervention hosted by Lindsay Lohan. And Charlie Sheen is driving the van. Dude, you gotta chill. The only thing they agreed on was everything was Obama's fault. And that's only fair and right, true and just. It comes with the territory. It happened to Bush. Bush, You remember, he got blamed for everything. Bush got blamed for the substandard maple syrup crop in Vermont, the infestation of grunge into country western, the high mercury content of domestic venison. Bush got blamed for Katrina, which was a low-pressure system. He had nothing to do with Katrina. He had nothing to do with any response to Katrina. That was the problem. That's the same thing happened to Obama. We saw it. He got blamed for everything. He got blamed for the Secret Service hooker scandal in Colombia. I mean, Jesus. How was he supposed to know? He doesn't party with them. John Edwards had been president? Well, maybe. Clinton, that's a dead solid lock. But it's not like the Secret Service was asking to be paid in ones, was it? I mean, and my favorite part, the Secret Service, the hooker wanted $800 and the agent gave her $30. And we fired him. The man has skills. Put him in charge of Pentagon procurement. Oh, but it happened on Obama's watch. Well, what kind of logic? I mean, by the same token, while Bush was president, Pluto was downgraded to a planetoid. So not only did we invade the wrong country, people, we lost a planet. Now, I don't know nothing, but we can't afford to lose 11% of the solar system. Too many more times. And they determined from day one, Mitch McConnell, the reanimated Halloween pumpkin that's a Senate minority leader. It's true. Did you ever notice only his bottom jaw moves when he talks? Hey, so he talks like this, like he was reanimated. Obama will be a one-term president. Yeah, he's a reanimated Halloween pumpkin, and John Boehner is orange. So there's some sort of Halloween thing going on with the Republican Party. But because of that, they couldn't give him any success. They wouldn't allow him to have, even when he floated propositions, floated bills that were developed by the Republicans. They couldn't even get him credit for killing Osama bin Laden. You saw Fox News, alien president murders terrorist brother. Then, of course, Pakistanis were all pissed off, but that's redundant, isn't it? I mean, seriously. Have you ever seen a jolly Pakistani? Oh, you made us look bad. You know, we can't take all the credit for that. Most wanted man on the face of the planet living 5 blocks from your West Point. You didn't notice? That's like Lady Gaga hiding out of the Vatican for 6 years. One of the blind 80-year-old cardinals would have sniffed her out. Blaspheme. I love doing that bit because I did so many drugs back in the 80s that with a nose this size, there's always one rock, caught in a little crevice there. So, wow. Might be telling you more than you need to know. And then, nothing he does. You get the feeling Obama could discover a cure for cancer, and the Republicans would complain he's anti-big pharmaceutical. They criticize Michelle Obama for her anti-obesity program. Who's pro-obesity? The Husky Casket Corporation? Angioplasty Balloons Are Us? The Wisconsin Tourism Board? I have a personal connection to that joke. And then the birther nonsense. It still goes on to this day. He was born in Kenya. No, he wasn't. He was born in Honolulu, in a manger. We all know that. And then he was visited by the 3 howlers, who presented him with gold, frankincense, and puka shells from Hilo Hattie's. Cannot do that joke in the Midwest. They have no idea what I'm talking about. And Donald Trump, the leader of the birther movement. Donald Trump, I know. I want to see his birth certificate. Well, we want to see your DNA. I think first you should prove to us that you're a carbon-based life form. And exactly what was that thing on your head born, mister? Because if it was Pluto, that doesn't count anymore. He was going to run for president. My big furry white ass, he was going to run for president. He can't. He'll never reveal his tax returns. Not that that's proved to be an insurmountable obstacle. And two, America's never had a president with a comb over. For a very good reason. If you think about it, 8-9 times a week, the president gets in and out of the rotor wash of the Marine One helicopter. Can you imagine Trump's hair whipping to the heavens like some sort of sentient shrubbery, signaling a secret society of Navajo fringe talkers? And what if he got caught in the rotor? Boom! End up losing a president to some bizarre Isadora Duncan reenactment. Too soon? And then Hurricane Sandy, which barreled into Atlantic City and New York City. I think it was targeting Trump. That's just me. Then, of course, Trump wanted to see Obama's transcripts from college because he didn't think he was smart enough to get into Harvard Law. I mean, come on, man. That's racial, if not racist. I mean, you know it's true. There are some people, not here, not far away. Boys, Hot Springs. You know, there are some people, Novato. There are some people. Roner Park, there are some people who are never going to get used to the fact we're being governed by a black guy living in public housing. All right, a half black guy. Half black! Yeah, you'll never be able to see that commercial again. Half black! And isn't that just like America? Yes, we're an adult, mature, grown-up nation. Of course we can elect an African-American president of the United States. But first, why don't we try on a half-black guy? Yeah, you know, like a starter Negro. Baby steps, a hybrid, a fusion, composite. And then we work our way up to Ving Rhames. Gonna get medieval on his ass. We're just Afro-curious. And may I say that this is one of the most diverse groups of white people that I have seen in a very... No, I'm serious, man. You get old people, old white people, and young white people, and rich white people, and well-to-do white people, and... Napa, darling. Come on, man. Norman Rockwell would take one look around and go, no. I mean, that's what the Tea Party was all about. We're taking our country back from the black guy. That's what it was about. Yeah, we know what you want back. You want your water fountains. You want your lunch counters. You want the fronts of your buses back. You want you want Leave It to Beaver back. Ain't gonna happen, angry old white dudes. Barbara Billingsley is dead, man. Oh, man, the teabaggers, and we're not supposed to call them teabaggers. But they did for the first 4 months because they had no idea their name was a euphemism for gargling testicles. So, it's true. It's true. We're the teabaggers of the Tea Party. What? You can't call us teabaggers. That's what happens when your movement's made up of angry old white guys, none of whom can get on the interweb. to vet their own name, for Christ's sake. Teabagger, what came in second? Cornholers for Democracy? Seriously, did Freedom's Felchers make the short list? The One-Eyed Snakes of Liberty. And they hate Obama, and they try everything because he's likable. You know, he's just likable. Michelle is likable, and there's not the hint of a whisper of a scintilla of a shadow of a scandal. Clinton came in. We already knew he was a corpulent womanizer. We know that. Bush had the DUIs and the DTs and the STDs and the ADHD. And Obama's like chamois on chrome. He's got less friction than rayon pajamas on silk sheets in zero gravity. Makes Clinton look like a chunk of concrete wrapped in Velcro, dipped in wallpaper paste. No matter what you think of Obama's policies, you got to admire his ability not to get involved in them. Guys, by the way, comedy show, feel free to laugh. It's not like verbal jazz, you know. This is going down for posterity. And it's so nice that Obama can talk. It's so refreshing to have a president who, when he speaks with a foreign leader at a joint press conference at the White House, the other guy isn't more eloquent in English as a second language. Thing is, he's inscrutable. I mean, we saw that, you know? We saw it all during the election. We saw it for 4 years. He says passionate things dispassionately. I mean, Bush was a human emoticon. You always knew where you stood, you know? And it was happy and sad and angry. You know? And Obama, you got to have the press secretary tell you, oh, no, he was all pissed off there. We had no idea. I think it's become increasingly apparent that our allies are in a quandary as how to respond to this particularly polarizing incident. And Bush was, either you're with us or you're against us. Ha ha, boom, boom. And I like Obama because he's pissed off everybody. He pisses off the left. He pisses off the right. The left, man, they're like returning crusaders wearing their disappointment like dented chainmail. Ooh, he didn't pass the Rainbows in Every Pantry Act. And you listen to the right, he's a radical jihadist trying to drag America into the socialist sinkhole that is Canada. So one side sees him as Malcolm X and the other side Urkel. And Bush had a real party behind him. Obama's got Democrats. You'd rather have terracotta warriors on your side. At least they're all facing the same direction. It's like the Occupy movement. It made sense. And I think the Occupy movement, I think it had a lot to do with this election because it brought the idea of income inequality and corporate greed, and it changed the conversation about a year ago, and it brought it back. But the problem is you get co-opted. You know, it's the very definition of the term liberal. It means accepting of many viewpoints. So, you know, they're on Wall Street, and they're focused, and it's making sense and reverberating around the country. And then what happens? Well, then, you know, the global warming people show up, and you got to give them a corner. And then the Free Tibet people want a space, and then the hemp contingent wants to sell hacky sack bags, which you would think was redundant, and then the dolphin-free tuna people show up, and once you let them in, you gotta let the tuna-free dolphin people in. No judgment. And then the reggae club needs a place to practice because no one's letting them in the garage, and then the homeless show up because the reggae people are handing out brownies. So And the sea turtle people spent a lot of time and money in those costumes. They're going to wear them, goddammit. Of course, the Democrats, I think the reason they were so intent to passing that stem cell bill was they're depending on that research to generate a spine. I think they're finally aware they're in the middle of a war. They were denying it for 4 years. Republicans are attacking with torches and pitchforks, and the Democratic response was to introduce legislation to reform pitchfork safety standards. You should put corks on those. Phosphorescent for nighttime visibility. Should come in at $30 a piece. Meanwhile, the Republicans have de-evolved into the tax cut zombies on the planet No. Their entire negotiating stance for the entire first term. No, 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 no. No, sir. No way. None of millionaires. Let me think. No. I'll sleep on it. No. What are you, 4? They turned into the Rain Man party before our very eyes. Tax cuts, yeah, definitely tax cuts, yeah. Yeah, tax cuts, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm an excellent driver, tax cuts. Wapner. And all the tax cuts go to the wealthy. Does that make any sense? You're giving money to the rich. The rich have money. That's why they're rich. Give some money to the poor. You want to give the rich something? Give them a hug. All right, line up for your government hug. Because the contract would be let out to the lowest bidder. Of course, there'd be somebody who would, I'd do it for free. Then they always have this pointed head of the economists. No, it's not welfare for the rich. What we're doing is we're blowing the magic note on the economic flute, summoning the trickle-down fairy from capitalist heaven to carry us away to a nice, warm, free market bath. No, you're giving money to rich people. Besides, I'm tired of being trickled on. You know. Somehow the rich were unable to enlist the stupid on their side. So now you got the heartless pummeling the spineless, cheered on by the clueless. Yeah, but if you give rich people money, they'll create jobs. Yes, they will. In China. But at $5 a gallon, that commute's going to be a bitch. People used to be embarrassed to be stupid. Didn't they? They shut up, they hid away, and you talk about books, and they go, oh, yeah. Now they're empowered. Stupid people are empowered. They want their own. Yes, they want legislation. All right, well, what are your ideas? Oh, okay. No taxes, close the borders, and women are baby tunnels, for Christ. Well, that's not going to work. You might want to live in Mississippi. You might want to move. See, I don't mind all that. I think we should start charging at the border, charge a cover to get into California. A cover and a 2-drink minimum. They threw everything. They threw everything at Obama. You know, he wins the Nobel Peace Prize. They hated him for that. I mean, it's a peace prize, for Christ's sake. The outcry, you thought he was caught naked under a goat at a junkie Hookers for Satan convention. Oh, he won the Peace Prize. Oh. Well, you know, the nominations for the Peace Prize closed 12 days into his first administration. Yeah, well, he showed early promise. I will admit the fact that he gave a pro-war Nobel Peace Prize acceptance speech was odd. But there he goes, thinking outside the box again. Well, Bush never got anything. Bush got a shoe. Got 2 shoes. Deserved them both. Wasn't his expression priceless? They yell at Obama for using a teleprompter. I don't understand that one. Everybody uses a teleprompter. Since 56, Eisenhower. When Sean Hannity screaming at the president for using a teleprompter, he's reading the rant off of a teleprompter. Sarah Palin, I'm not making this up. Sarah Palin was yelling at the president for his over-reliance on the use of a teleprompter. It was the very event, it was at a Tea Party event, and the media discovered she had notes sharpied onto her hand. I shit you not. What is that but a 5th grade teleprompter? It's a teleprompter for people who can't read fast. It's a short bus teleprompter. It's a remedial teleprompter. It's a classic case of the Bering Sea calling the Chicago River moist. And I love Sarah Palin. I'm glad she sat out that cycle. Now, she's tan and rested. She's ready to make a comeback. I mean, for comedy, come on. Because even though she wasn't running, the girl couldn't help herself. Every 2 weeks there was something. Every 2 weeks she erupts. She's like Republican herpes. But I mean that in a good way. She went to Jerusalem and visited the whaling wall, and she was so golly gosh excited because whaling used to be a huge industry in Alaska, don't you know? No, you're right. She didn't say that, no. But for a second, you weren't sure. Her first book was called Going Rogue. She sold 1.5 million copies, 85% to people who hadn't bought a book in 5 years. That's true. She's queen of the illiterati. Although they wouldn't know how to spell it. She's selling books to people who don't read. You can see how she got a second book deal. Publishers love her. They never considered targeting the non-reading segment of America before. It's a brand new marketing paradigm. Next, sunglasses for those born without ears. Curb feelers for the agoraphobic. Invisalign dentures. I will say this. She could probably handle a gun better than Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney, who had a heart transplant in March. Transplant? Really? Don't you think installation might be more apt? 3 sizes too small. And I know the donors are supposed to be anonymous, but man, can you imagine being that family? Oh. And if I had been the donor, even though I was dead, I would have crawled out of the grave all the way to the hospital and scooped my organ back out of his chest with a garden trowel. His autobiography just came out in paperback. It's called In My Time, and he supported the hardcover release with a book tour after recuperating from his 5th heart attack. 5 heart attacks, and the man lives. He is so evil, hell keeps spitting him back. What? Who is it this time? No! No! Hell no! We're full. He'll ruin the curve. And I'm sure I'm asking the same question you are. How does the guy without a heart have 5 heart attacks? It would be like Rick Perry contracting a brain tumor. It just doesn't make any. Poor Rick Perry. He led the polls. He led the polls for 3 weeks before he got into the race. Because all his donors, from Texas, they're going, dude, you're leading by double digits. Get in. So he did. And then he did a couple of debates, and he stumbled a little bit, still led the polls, was written off his nervous jitters, and then the third debate. Not the charm. Third debate was where he had the 53-second brain freeze. I watch this shit so that you don't have to. I'm here to help. What happened was he was trying to remember the third department of the cabinet he was going to get rid of. He got the first two. He got education and commerce, and then for 53 seconds on national TV, it was like a minute-long commercial for the Doofus Club for Men. For 53 seconds, he goes, education, commerce, and the third, It was excruciating. It was cringeworthy. All the other guys in the panel, they were afraid he was contagious. They all went, "Ah!" It was like Jerry Lewis, shelving. I'm at home. I'm not a big fan. I'm sitting on the couch. Even I was, oh, dude, Jesus, come on. Debbie, you got to, maybe it's written on your hand. You can do it. And I wasn't the only one, because 28 seconds in, Ron Paul tries to help out his fellow Texan. Ron Paul goes, EPA? Because Ron Paul holds his hands like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. He does. Excellent. Release the hounds. And this is when you realize that Rick Perry will never be qualified to be president, because he immediately shot back, no, that's not it. And for another 25 seconds, education, commerce, third one. No. Oops. Oh, man. And he shot down to the polls, and he never recovered. And it was all over. It was all over. He had to go in the spin room afterwards. And they said, what happened? And he goes, well, well, I guess debates aren't my strong suit. No! No! Strong suit, weak suit, leisure suit, space suit, birthday suit. No! Debates aren't your black socks with sandals. And it was energy he was trying to remember. He couldn't remember energy. He's from Texas. He couldn't remember energy. And you know what the Republicans were thinking? Another governor from Texas. That's what America needs? Yes. And species-jumping hookworms. More of those too, please. There's something about Texas. I don't know what it is. Politicians inside of Texas, they're fine. Then they try to leave the confines of the border, and it's like Lost Horizon, like leaving Shangri-La, Even you guys wouldn't buy the 75-year-old movie reference, would you? I'm having problems relating to the kids. Jeez, I wonder why. Because Perry became governor on January 20th, 2001, when Bush was appointed president. And in those 11 years and 10 months, he executed 238 people. Yeah, Texas legislature sent him a bill that would outlaw the execution of mentally retarded inmates. And Rick Perry vetoed it. He's strict. He doesn't just embrace the death penalty, he gets jiggy with it. Jiggy is a word the kids used 25 years ago. But I bet Rick Perry can't sleep at night until he flips through his lethal injection technical manual, which is wedged between the mattress and the box springs with more than a couple of the pages stuck together, if you know what I mean, and I think you do. All right, I went over the line with that one, all right. But you have to go over the line once in a while, otherwise you never know where the line is. Rick Perry threatened to secede from the Union. Texas was going to secede if health care passed. Of course, Rush Limbaugh said he was going to move to Costa Rica if health care passed. So there's a win-win. Costa Rica, where they have universal health care. Although your access to OxyContin may vary. But Perry maintains that because Texas entered the Union as a republic in 1845, that ever since then they have a deal with the feds that allow them to leave at any time. So we got to impanel a commission to investigate whether or not there's a reciprocal clause of this agreement. Perry says that the only reason he ran for president was because God told him to. But Michelle Bachmann maintains that God told her to run for president. So, either somebody was fibbing, or God is off his meds again. And I hate when that happens. We get such mixed signals. Michelle Bachmann led the polls. She led the national polls for 2 weeks. She got her picture on the cover of Newsweek magazine. And it was very controversial because it was kind of a creepy, cross-eyed, messianic gaze. It was... And all her supporters complained, "Oh, you bad magazine, you cherry-picked the creepy-looking photo on purpose." And Newsweek responded by putting the entire photo shoot online. Oh, yeah? Which one would you have picked? Poor Michelle Bachmann, she was always so close. She went to Concord, New Hampshire, and said, "It's great to be here," where the shot heard around the world was fired, igniting the Revolutionary War. But that was actually Concord, Massachusetts, 60 miles due south. So close. And then she went to this small town in Iowa and said, "It's great to be here in the birthplace of John Wayne." But it was actually the birthplace of John Wayne Gacy, the serial killer. 33 skeletons in the crawl space, proving that sometimes close can be so very, very far away. And she's a member of the House Intelligence Committee. You can't make shit up like this. Just like Todd Aiken, the Missouri congressman who ran against Claire McCaskill for the senatorship and lost, thank God, the guy who thinks that women have a button they push during legitimate rape that closes off the fallopian tube, a magic button that every woman has somewhere, like the G-spot, we don't know where, and they're not talking. This man is a member of the House Science, Space, and Technology Commission. Yes, he is. Let's hope he's concentrating on space. He's got plenty of time right now to do a first-person fact-finding mission, although he lost his congressional seat. Yeah, because he had to choose. Michelle Bachmann is very anti-gay marriage, which is odd since she's apparently been in one for 33 years. Anybody familiar with her husband, Marcus? Sounds like steam escaping. Marcus is deeper in the closet than snowshoes in August. And only in the Midwest are you able to get away with this kind of flaming subterfuge. He would spend 5 seconds in San Francisco. "You big lug, get over here! Who you trying to kid?" Of course, we were never confused by the crying game either. Look at the size of her hands. That's what I love about San Francisco. We don't care who you are. We don't care what you do, what religion, what color. We don't care about your sexual identity. You could be anybody. You could be a red-bearded Lithuanian vegan dwarf into golden showers. Come on down. Water's fine. We get a street festival for that. Now, I realize your reluctance, your reticence to laugh at that joke because a person's sexual identity should not be fodder for humorosity. And I totally agree. It should not be grist for the comedic mill. Except on the very rare occasion when the hypocrisy is so thick and rich and creamy, you could damn the Caribbean with it, as in this instance. Because Marcus Bachman's gig, his job, his vocation, how he makes his money is he runs a Christian counseling service that cures homosexuality. It's called Pray Away the Gay. I shit you not. And he rails against the homosexual agenda. Don't you love that? The homosexual agenda. What is the homosexual agenda? 7 a.m. scones. At noon, high-pressure colonics for everyone. Jeff, that means everyone. And don't forget the cheesy salmon puffs and focaccia for the Cub Scout recruitment drive. Hail Satan. And exactly how does one pray away the gay? Well, first we get down on our knees. Okay, that's more than I needed to know. Oh, come on, we have high jokes, we have low jokes. How does he do it? Volume. I'm a joke hose up here with a thesaurus. You realize thesaurus has no synonym? Jokes? You want the jokes? You can't handle the jokes. You can't handle the jokes. There's places you don't talk about at parties. You want me on this stage. You need me on this stage. Sorry. Recalculating. Mea culpa. Now, Herman Cain said that God told him to run for president. Herman Cain led the polls for 3 weeks, which confused everybody, including Herman Cain. He's an African-American running for the Republican nomination. Hello? It's like Joan Rivers entering the Miss Aryan Nations pageant. It's a statement. He was auditioning for Roger Ailes. He was raising his national profile so he gets his own show on Fox News, which he probably will next year. Yeah, but it allowed him to say shit he actually believed. And he sounded authentic, and that's why people loved him. Because you know a politician, you ask a question, you can hear the wooden gears clank into place as the mental claw reaches down to pluck pat answer 4 from paragraph 3. And he was loose and free and easy. The Koch brothers are my brothers from another mother. He said that. I'm in it to win it. He said it. Bros before hoes. No, he didn't say that. And that's what happened. The tsunami of sleaze hit. And then when he got out, it was such a parody of a cliche of the disgraced politician dance, you know. They all do it. It doesn't matter what party, Ensign, Vitter, Edwards, the unfortunately named Congressman Weiner, they all do the same thing. Anthony Weiner, Tony Weiner, which sounds like a food truck here in Napa. The Tony Weiner, please. Robton Neiman Ranch bacon, thank you. But first, you know, you see the dance first. It wasn't me. And then, okay, might have been me, but it only happened once. And then maybe a couple times. And then finally, I gotta go. And with Weiner, it was his own damn fault. Because you get to choose how other people pronounce your name. He didn't have to go with Weiner. He could have done the Boner-Boehner thing. Speaker of the House, John Boehner, has 11 brothers and sisters, family of 12. 11 brothers and sisters, they're all boners. It's true. He's the only Boehner in the family. His mother's a boner. His father. Well, 12 kids, you do the math. And Weiner could have gone with Weiner. which is admittedly still a lousy name for a politician, apt for a Democrat perhaps, but lousy nonetheless. Or you could have gone whole hog. I've seen it down in Wisconsin. Yes, we spell it W-E-I-N-E-R, but it's pronounced Schultz. I still don't understand why he had to leave. I mean, he didn't do anything illegal. Can't kick somebody out of Congress for being unseemly. Got to assemble a quorum once in a while. Well, let's see, what do we got today? Idiot, oaf, cad, fool, lout, creep, toad, buttwipe, lizard stick, ogre, squeeze bag, thug, goon, vandal, Nimrod, two Nimrods, Aiken, Wiener, Bachman, Johnson, Boner. I'll come back tomorrow. Oh, man. Fell down on my hand. Yeah. Gonna have a subdermal hematoma, but otherwise I'm all right. I don't think. Well, a doctor was confused. So, I had this one fantasy that Herman Cain won, and today's what, the 10th? So imagine 4 days ago, these dyed-in-the-wool racists going to the polls in rural precincts in northeast Mississippi, having to choose between Herman Cain and Barack Obama. Their little heads would pop right off. Pow! Shit, get the mop. We got another one. Now, Rick Santorum didn't say God told him to run for president. Rather, he was God running as president, and he was not happy. Rick Santorum, the Ayatollah of Pennsylvania. He's not old-fashioned. He's Old Testament. I never understood what he believed in. All I heard from him was what he didn't believe in. He doesn't believe in global warming. Global warming, not that it exists, not that it's man-made. He doesn't believe it exists. Really? Really? Seriously? You know, the permafrost is melting. Never in the history of civilization has the permafrost ever melted. Hence, its name. He doesn't believe in evolution, and ironically, he is his own best argument. He doesn't believe in public education. He's homeschooling his kids. Why? Because for the first 150 years of America, presidents homeschooled their kids. Of course they did. For the first 150 years of America, the living room and the sheep barn were the same place. For the first 150 years of America, the major presidential physician prognosis was more leeches, please. For Christ's sake, we just figured out how to put the wheel on luggage 25 years ago. The curved shower curtain rod remains a concept that eludes many still. He is so conservative, his globe is flat. Tea Party members are going, dude, whoa. His idea of progress is smelting a lighter alloy for the buckle on his hat. It's my favorite joke. I think it gives me the distinction of being the only English-speaking comedian ever to use the word smelt as a gerund. That joke kills at library conventions. I am bleeding. No, it'll be all right. I'm almost done. Yes, no, now my DNA. I have to eat this. Oh, you got a Band-Aid? Florence Nightingale in the audience, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what else ails me? I got another owie. Oh. Yeah. Man. Where was it? Oh, Rick Santorum. Rick Santorum was doing fine. He won Iowa, but he wasn't announced as the winner of Iowa. Mitt Romney was. So imagine how it would have changed, because he would have gone to New Hampshire with all the momentum and some more donors, and because Mitt Romney wins Iowa, and then 3 weeks later, oh yeah, you know what? Santorum actually won. So the whole thing would have changed, and he had no money. No money at all. He actually bragged. He was so frugal. He flew to campaign stops on middle seats on United. Oh, man, really? We were supposed to give the presidency to a guy who can't figure out how to work a seat locator map on an airline website? Santorum led the polls. He won 3 states. Newt Gingrich won 2 states. Newt Gingrich was doing fine until that one debate where he said he wanted to go to the moon, and everybody said, go. Now would be good. Newt Gingrich was doing great with what they call low information voters. Not making this up. It's a demographic category. It means stupid people. But the beauty of it is you get to say it right in front of them. Seriously, he was winning in Florida. He was ahead by 8 points, and then Romney came in and pummeled him on television. He outspent Gingrich 17-1, went from an 8-point lead to an 8-point loss, and that was the template that Romney thought he was going to use against Obama, but it didn't work. He used it against Santorum. And poor Newt, I mean, even the staunchest Republicans try to say President Newt, and it's like saying Pope Dennis Hopper. It's like Secretary of Housing and Urban Development Kardashian. And he ran as the traditional family values candidate, and the fact that he'd been married 3 times just made him extra traditional. He actually did a Christian broadcast network interview at the beginning of the race to diffuse that whole question, because he knew they would ask friendly questions. And they asked him about that whole affair thing, and he said the reason he had those affairs was because his love for America was too strong. So if you think about it, he did to those women what he wanted to do to us. We can never hope to repay these courageous women for their valiant sacrifice. Thank you for your cervix. That was a low joke. It was, I have high and low and all over. And that leaves us with withered Mitt Romney. A man with all the personality of a human plastic picnic fork with 3 of the tines snapped off. He was just a bad candidate. He was just a bad candidate. You think about it, he lost to a black guy in a shitty economy. He was just and his staff said, well, a long campaign made him a better candidate. No, all he's done for 6 years has been run for president. His learning curve had no more bendy parts left. He's just electile dysfunctional. At every juncture, he was a lousy candidate. He had one good debate, and the only reason he had one good debate was Obama couldn't look at the guy because he couldn't believe the shit was coming out of his mouth. He just couldn't even look at him. Just 70 million Americans tuned into that first debate. Unfortunately, Obama was not one of them. I don't know what was on the podium. It looked like he was in a especially frustrating sequence of an Angry Birds. Might have been Star Wars, the Angry Birds Star Wars thing, because that was just released at the time. But it was amazing. Romney. Romney went to Great Britain and pissed off the entire country. Great Britain! That's not one of the tough ones. If diplomacy were an Olympic sport, this guy tripped over the lane chalk. Oh, he was head of the 2002 Winter Olympics. Yeah, right. And then David Cameron, the Prime Minister of England, snapped back. Well, you know, London's a world-class city. It's not in the middle of nowhere. But come on. Salt Lake City's not in the middle of nowhere. It's in Utah. Then he went to Israel and said Israeli financial acumen gave him an advantage over Palestine, which kind of pissed off the Palestinians and made a few Israelis wonder if he had just called them thrifty. And Anne, or as he calls her, Lovey, she would have made a great first lady for Dwight D. Eisenhower. She flew over to London to accompany her horse Rafalka in Olympic dressage. Dressage being a French event where the rider and the horse perform predetermined movements. Kind of like interspecies dancing. Which you would think the Mormon religion would frown upon. But the horse failed to make the medal round, so I'm sure it was shipped home strapped to the fuselage of a 747. He likes it. Then he insulted 47% of America, calling us moochers and malingerers, and that pissed off his base. 47%? Hell, that's more than half. And the problem with pissing off 47% of America is at least 68% of us worry that we're not part of his 53%. He just didn't have the common touch. Every time he went into a rally, even with his own supporters, and he was shaking hands, you could hear under his breath him going, icky, 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 icky. You know there was an aide waiting on the bus with a Purell hand sanitizer connected to a 55-gallon drum, hosing him down. He went to that one supporter rally and made fun of the lady's cookies. It was his own supporters. It was a picnic. He made fun of her cookies because they were store-bought. Apparently her pastry chef was off duty. And the whole Bain Capital thing, how you can be president, CEO, sole stockholder, and still have nothing to do with the direction of the company. And who's going to believe that except anybody who's ever worked for a major corporation or the government? Obama's slogan was forward, and I think Romney's was lifelike. He actually served on the board of a company called Lifelike. Seriously? Board member or beta test prototype? Because he looked like he was assembled in an IKEA box. One male politician standard, extremely white. White, like the Republican National Convention. I felt so bad for that one black guy in the audience that the cameras kept cutting to during all the speeches. It was the same guy. They tried everything to make him look like a crowd, different camera angles. He had, pretty sure he had his own wardrobe assistant. And then poor Clint. Oh, buddy. Oh, it looked like he had just woken up from the nap, you know. Couldn't somebody have gone like that to his hair? And he upstages the nominee's acceptance speech by losing an argument to an empty chair. And I'm sure he was pissed. He probably went back to the hotel room and got into a squabble with his armoire. That's what we're calling the CD. A squabble with his armoire. Because it wasn't a bad skit for the Every Which Way But Loose sequels rap party, but not the Republican National. And then Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan, a bold choice. That's what they kept calling him, a bold choice. Perhaps, but bold, not always synonymous with good. Whiskey for breakfast is a bold choice. Forehead snake tattoos, very bold. Driving an 18-wheeler on a blind curve doing 80 in the rain, very bold. Not smart. He's the guy, the budget guru of the GOP. That's what they call him. He loves his budgets. He gives them cute little names. First budget was called Roadmap to an American Future. Second budget was Pathway to Prosperity. And he replaces Medicare with vouchers. In both of them, vouchers, coupons, healthcare coupons. Why? Because old people love coupons. I got a coupon. 4 more, we can book the anesthesiologist. Only 3 for Kaiser. Yeah, then we phase in early bird organ transplants. Somehow get Groupon on board. 55% off your designer colonoscopy. But we have to sell 500 by 4 p.m. So tell your friends. At the Republican National Convention, Paul Ryan blamed Obama for a GM plant that closed in Janesville, Wisconsin in December of 2008. He wasn't inaugurated until January of 2009. He wasn't president in December of 2008. If you remember back, nobody was president in December of 2008. Yes, well, it was still his fault. And the Titanic, that was him too. And the fall of the Roman Empire, no, that was Biden. Joe Biden, his debate, Jesus, Joe, decaf, dude. It's like Laughing Sal from Playland. But you know, he didn't make any major faux pas. It was just a general overall impression. But you know, everybody worried because he's not a loose cannon. He's a loose aircraft carrier. So. Normally, he sticks his foot in his mouth so often, you probably tickling his spleen with his shoelaces. I bet he flosses with them. And then the other debates, the second debate, where Obama sprung the snare, you know, about Benghazi, the Benghazi tiger trap. You never mentioned terrorism. Please proceed, Governor. And you knew, Romney knew something was up because that was kind of like, you know, come in, you know, the spider into the, come on, fly. Because Romney after that went, and then he said, well, he never said it. And then Candy Crowley said, oh, yeah, he did. I was there. Because, you know, he's not used to the help speaking out of turn. But Candy had more balls than Jim Lair, so. Yeah. And that first debate, Obama was just shocked, you know. He couldn't believe that this guy, because I have no tax plan. I believe in pre-existing conditions. He's like one of those plastic wind tube dancers you see on the side of a used car lot. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah. Trying to pin him down is like trying to glue Jell-O to a sponge. Straddled so many fences he could build a tree house out of redwood from the splinters in his butt. Romney's ad should have ended with, I'm Mitt Romney, and I both approve and disapprove of this ad. Does he believe in gay marriage? He did when he was in Massachusetts, but now, no. I mean, this guy, man, he needs a couple of Kama Sutras to keep track of all his positions. And he's not as anti-gay marriage as Rick Santorum was. Rick Santorum called it an abomination. And anybody who campaigns for president in a sweater vest obviously knows of such things. But Romney said that marriage for 3,000 years has been between one man and one woman. What he curiously forgets is that window of opportunity 120 years ago when his great-grandfather moved to Mexico to practice polygamy. And that was 1 man and 5 women. And for a guy who's been married for 30 years, that sounds way too complicated. I don't understand the antipathy. I know it's religious-based or something. I just don't get it. Who cares, you know? Who gives a rat's ass about gay marriage? How does 2 people's happiness make me miserable? Well, I don't think someone should marry someone of the same sex. Well, then don't. Problem solved. Let's move on. A lot of shit on the list. No, wait. You don't understand. My religion doesn't believe that anybody should be. Yeah, but they don't belong to your religion. No, they belong to another religion. Entirely altogether different. One that involves honey and mustard and lemon, and you wouldn't like it. Threads of saffron. So you don't want the tables turned. You don't want another religion telling you that your wife has to walk 5 paces behind you dressed as a grieving beekeeper now, do you? Imagine losing your wife in a Saudi Arabian mall. Be easy to find mine. She'd be the one in the orange burqa. Big Giants fan. Still champion. It's hard to believe, especially that group. Nothing was like the first one, though. That first one, they did it in Texas. You know, it was a win-win. Not only won the World Series, first one in 56 years, but they also made the Bush family cry. So. But this one was just as special. Mitt Romney kind of became the Pee Wee Herman candidate. I know you are, but what am I? He blamed Obama for war on women. He blamed Obama for doubling down. He said he had big change. I mean, it was Jesus. He accused Obama of engaging in class war. The guy building a 57-room beachfront mansion in La Jolla with a car elevator accused Obama of engaging in class war. Jesus Christ. For him, it's like someone driving a tank whining that all the crushed skulls are making it hard to steer. Anytime somebody wearing a watch worth more than a house in Sheboygan talks about class war, should have a hose shoved down his throat and goose liver pumped in until it leaks pate from the ears. All right, that was a little stiff, but I'm talking about imported foie gras, not California, because it's illegal here. That's right, we protect our geese. Are there any questions? Selling CDs afterwards, a raging moderate, costs $15. You want to buy it, I'll sell it to you. What? Honey, these are just jokes. What about next Bush? No. Next one, I think 2016, Bush Clinton. Jeb versus Hillary. Your little heads will pop right off. No! There's so much could happen. I mean, the Republicans are going to do the same, you know, the stonewalling and stuff. Yeah. We want to work with the president. Yeah, the same way a 5-year-old with a magnifying glass wants to work with ants. But he's got a position of power. He can just let the Bush tax cut. Hey, it's their fault. No, because they set it up. We got a debt ceiling crisis coming up. Last time we almost defaulted. We could default. You know what happens then? We have to move back in with Britain. Yeah, you think it's embarrassing slinking home after school? Try waiting 236 years. Well, look who's back. Couldn't hack it on our own, could we, Mr. I'm ready for independence? Notice you didn't run over to your good friend China's house. What's the matter? They want some of the money back? But you squandered it away already like your post-9/11 goodwill? Typical. Why can't you handle your money better like your younger brother Canada? Yes, bit stodgy, but knows the grindstone. That's Canada in a nutshell. Still respect their royals. Not like you or that drunken lout Australia. Don't get me started. Well, your mother says that you can crash on the basement couch, but just for a couple of weeks. While you live in this house, you will live by our rules. Do you hear me? Healthcare is free for everybody. Look at me when I'm talking to you. The stitches may be a little larger than you used to, but I dare say you'll get accustomed to it. Now get your big furry white ass downstairs and clean up for supper. Doesn't look like you missed many meals. And while you're down there, clean up a spot under the stairwell. There's a clever lad. Ireland just called. They're on their way over. The Celtic pussycat. I'm happy because the ads are done. Oh, my living God. Liar, thief, failure, cheat, shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. Did you see that in Florida, a tax collector was elected even though he had been dead for 3 weeks? 3 weeks, that's not even newly dead. Voters had plenty of time to weigh the options. Dead guy. How much shit can he do? I get my national news because it was impossible to watch. I watch nightly news, national news every night, so that you don't have to. You owe me money, man. It's so depressing. Not for the news, because the news is, was, and forever shall be the news. You know, the ads. Apparently, the only other people besides me watching the network national news are very old or sick or dying. Every ad is for Flomax or Prevacid or Lipitor or Cialis. People with clogged pipes or leaky pipes or pipes that need extending. Honest to God, I'm convinced it's some sort of plumbing outreach program. And they're not 30-second ads, or at least a minute sometimes two, because they're required by law to include all the bad shit that could happen to you. And they don't want to freak out, so they try to slide by in this perky monotone. Side effects may include, but are not limited to, headache, nausea, flatulence, dizziness, dizzy flatulence, weight loss, weight gain, hives, chives, weird rashes on the inner thighs, involuntary muscle spasms, cement-like bowel obstructions, anthrax, dysentery, bovine spongiform encephalopathy, flesh-eating bacteria, explosive diarrhea, chlamydia, anal leakage, leprosy, Glock elbow, nickel-dick phobia, cat scratch fever, idiopathic river slobber syndrome, Ebola, elephantiasis, brain cloud, cholera light, partial total paralysis, total partial paralysis, total paralysis, suicidal thoughts or actions, death like coma, near death, and fatigue. And they put it in the middle because they can't put it at the end, or people would go, shit. And they have to have time for the purple butterfly to land on the frowny blob and make it a smiley blob. The ad for Cialis, the classic ad, in the event of a 4-hour erection, call a doctor. Call a doctor? Call a nurse. Call a press conference. Call the Vatican. It's a miracle. The ad for Aricept, A-R-I-C-E-P-T, which is an Alzheimer's drug, which you're required to take 3 times a day. How cruel is that? And the television ad had Grandma and Grandpa, they're picking up grandkids at a train station. Very sepia tone, nostalgic. A little girl comes running up to Grandpa, and he looks down. Oh, hello, Janie. And she goes, my name's Julie. And Grandma's lurking in the shadows at that point. She turns to the camera and says, that's when I knew Bob had a problem. Screws up one name. They're taking him to the home. They're going to put him down. I screw up people's names 5 seconds after I made them. I'm still shaking their hands during the introductory conversation. I'm sorry. I'm a total idiot. Salome? Jim. You're going to think I'm making this up for the sake of the joke, that it's hyperbole or an exaggeration. No. I forgot my wife's name. We've been married 31 years, 6 of the happiest years of my life. No 2 weeks contiguous. No, seriously, I don't regret one day. And that one day, I don't regret, was a Tuesday, May of '84, because we had been up all night visiting a sick friend. And she was passed out. No, what happened was, it wasn't even the beginning of the relationship. It's 11 years in. It's 1992. We're down in L.A. I'm at a big-time fancy television executive cocktail party meeting this famous guy. I'm nervous. I'm wearing a suit for one of the first times. And I go, and this is my wife. I froze. I dead froze. Honestly. And I know it was like 3 or 4 seconds, but in my brain it was like a 53-second Rick Perry brain freeze. And I'm whipping through my mental Rolodex. Rolodex is a wheel with a bunch of cards on it. We used it like a analog PDA while preparing the pigments for our cave paintings. And you would think my wife's card would be one of the first. Nothing. I look at her, she is no help at all. I've remembered it dozens of times. You would think she knew. It was on the tip of my tongue. All I needed was a hint, a visual clue. 2 syllables, sounds like Webby. And I'm getting this. And guys, I don't know if you've ever been here, but there is no finesse at this point. And this is my wife. Her. Mrs. Durst. My future ex-wife. Well, I have abused your patience for much too long. You guys at home as well. I apologize. I want to thank you. I want to thank Keith and Sandy for letting me come. I want to thank ToutSuite, the lovely Susan and Gracie, and the bar. Tip your waitresses. I want to thank Florence Nightingale for stopping my bleeding. And for those of you who are confused by the political nature, I have a generic joke for you to take home. Just something. Chicken and an egg are having sex. Finally, they finish. Egg rolls over, lights up a cigarette, hands it to the chicken, blows smoke at the ceiling, and says, well, that answers that. Wow, it is late, isn't it? Yeah. Wow, 5 seconds later, some of you rented those 7-second delay headsets, huh? They cost more, but they're worth it. All right, but I'm glad you voted. I'm glad you went out and exercised your electoral muscle. Because remember, if you don't vote, you can't bitch. But then again, I'll pick up the slack for the rest of us. Thank you, guys. Hope to see you out here at Silos again someday.